There'll always be in England, but there hasn't always been an English Open. First played in 1979 and only 4 English names on the trophy. Last year, a man from Dungannon, Northern Ireland. British, yes. Darren Clarke, English? Afraid not. King of the Forest has been Colin Montgomery, educated in Yorkshire, a resident in Leithy, Surrey. But he's the man who put the proud in Scott. We got it right 2 years ago. Lee Westwood from Yeoman Stock. Informed 2 years ago and again 2 weeks ago at the Deutsche Bank. And 4 of our top 5 here. From New Zealand, Michael Campbell, who kicked off the year in fine style and has already won twice on the European Tour this season. And Campbell leads going into the final round of the Compass Group English Open. The Marriott Forest of Arden, the 5th time hosts the English Open. And you couldn't get much closer to the centre of England than our current location. Nearby, Warwick Castle. That's where Shakespeare was born a while ago. Packlington Hall. And in the middle of an old Deer Park estate, our venue. Plenty of players looking for big money checks. 5 Englishmen in the top 12. 2 Kiwis. Clarke needs a spectacular round. Monty just 4 behind. Mark James let his clubs do the talking. And Lee Westwood has closed the gap on Michael Campbell to just 2. So eyes down, settle down, and look forward to an excellent afternoon of the best of European Tour golf. It hasn't been the best of weeks for the European Tour in many ways. A lot of the headlines and the articles, not much to do with the golf that's being played on the Forest of Arden, but I think this afternoon we will see the golf doing the talking. Michael Campbell with the advantage at the start of the day, and looking to be a wire-to-wire winner. The skies a little clearer. That means that the airship is going to be here for the next 3 hours, provided some alternative and spectacular pictures from above. Good crowds and a good-looking leaderboard. And as you join us live at the Forest, I think this tournament is just poised to really take shape on the back nine. I can tell you that Campbell is still holding the pack at bay, but they really are yapping at his heels. And the pressure is all on the New Zealander, as it has been for the last 3 days. He's the man with most to lose. Everything else, everybody else, with more to gain. So let's bring you up to date what's happened so far. And a fast start from the Spanish Open champion Brian Davis, who's no stranger to low final rounds. He started with a 33 at the first, a par at the second, the par 5 third shot. Eagle 3. Now Darren Clarke said yesterday that it was just about the best he played since La Costa, and he beat David Duval and Tiger Woods in one golden weekend. Clarke, the defending champion, picking up 2 birdies in the first 3 holes, dropping a shot at the 4th, and then this at the par 3 5th. Will be converted for a birdie 2. Slow start for Colin Montgomery, 4 straight pars, and again the putter not really behaving. Remedy, leave it in the bag. 2nd of the 5th. Monty will get that shot back at the next. So here's the situation. Michael Campbell, 4 straight pars. Brian Davis has just held a bunker shot at the 9th to get out in 31. He shares 2nd place with Darren Clarke and Mark James, who just made birdies at 5 and 6. You can see Lee Westwood going along reasonably well, although he's dropped a shot yet to record a birdie, dropped a shot at the 4th, and Monty treading water as well. Everything to play for. Michael Campbell missed the green or two this afternoon. It's a little heavy-handed. Good rounds from Brett Rumfolder, 68, 68 also for Roger Winchester, for Wayne Riley. Relative Goosen dropping 2 shots at 17, a bogey at 18 for a 73. That was disappointing. And Henny Otto will be ruining bogeys at the last 4 holes of his tournament. He's finished with a 74 and 2 over par overall. So that brings you up to date with the South Africans who've completed their rounds. Ian Hutchins had a 74 also. Let's concentrate on the top end of the tournament. Darren Clark just the 1 par so far, coming off 3 birdies in a row. Can he make it 4? It went one way, went t'other, and it looked 2 or 3 feet short that it was going to drop in. But he knows he's playing well. So there, you think that's just going to turn and maybe grab the edge, and in the end just a fraction too much pace. Shot goes for very difficult when you start with a 63. You're almost inevitably on the defensive from time to time subsequently. An aggressive roll from Lee Westwood. Just not getting the breaks at the moment. Yeah, why me? Still time.
Stay still, please. Thank you. Stand still, please.
He's only, or will be only 2 behind. Monty, who normally plays the percentages, if you miss the fairway, make sure you don't be the next shot, but he's actually playing this hole entirely under rough. Been commuting backwards and forwards from Surrey this week. And that's the closest it's been all week. Who won this title back-to-back, 89 and 90, just up the road at the Belfry, getting home and just through the green in 2 at this par 5. 65 yesterday, thanks to a putting tip from a member of the public who spotted his left wrist was a little weak. Like jelly was the quote. Campbell worked hard after the round yesterday on his driving, which just strayed a little. Six, one of the hardest holes on the course, getting between the toss-up between 6 and 9, which ranks 1. So a slight chill in the air. 36 holes here at the Marriott Forest of Arden. We're on the Arden course. Here we are, certainly the toughest driving hole, particularly when you're off the back tee. Ricardo Gonzalez at the 8th, he's just coming off 2 birdies in a row. Dropped a shot at the 2nd, so he's at 8 under, only 3 behind. Again, very tricky pin placing at the 8th, just over the water. 6 paces on, 5 from the left-hand side. And he's playing with Peter O'Malley. Peter O'Malley, 2 birdies, 2 bogeys to this point. Been a good hole for Peter over the week. He dropped shots here in the first 2 rounds. Got a 3 yesterday. Finished lower than second in 5 tournaments. Forest of Arden, 3 English Opens, 2 British Masters. He's won 1 of each. Lost a playoff to Philip Wharton in 1 of the English Opens. And finished a shot behind Robert Allenby and Greg Turner on the other 2 occasions. That time when he finished behind Greg Turner, actually threw in the last round 63. I don't think he's going to do that, or if he is, he needs to get going very quickly. Good spirit between of these 2, Ryder Cup captain and his #1 player. A lot of controversy this week about Mark James's book In the Bear Pit, $16.99. All good bookshops from any day now, and it's been interesting to see the way that stories have chased it. Somebody reacts to one story, it creates another story, and on it goes, and been making a lot of the back pages all week long. Also have a fresh story today where Sergio Gomez, who is the manager of Jose Maria Olazabal, is alleged to have complained about the British bias of the European Tour and how Jose Maria may go off and play more in the States. Be a little careful because it's only what he's reported as saying. Chairman of the tournament committee. Far from an apologist for the European Tour. You only have to see the crowds in the tournaments in Britain to know one of the reasons we're here. Plenty of sponsorship money available as well. Needs to make a putt in the not too distant future, Lee Westwood. And when you look at the situation in the British Isles compared to maybe on the continent, where I know there's at least 1 National Open that won't take place this year because they've been able to find the funds for it, I don't think you should bite the hand that feeds you. Also complaints at television showing too much Colin Montgomery, Lee Westwood and Darren Clark, the big 3. But I don't think they're top 3 in the money list because they're on TV all the time, otherwise Seve would be right up there. It all makes good copy and makes a change from reading about football. Just a par for Monty. Maybe it'll be his week. Again, yes, spot on for that. He is playing well, there's no doubt about it. Wasn't at his happiest at times, but particularly in round 2 where he dropped shots of the last 2 holes and came off in a right drop to the practice ground, sorted that out and got just about everything right yesterday. And continuing in the same vein today, got the cigar wrong. Red seems to be the colour. Only 26 putts yesterday, and he's got this for a share of the lead. Well, that would be ironic, or quite what it would be, but if Mark James were to win this title, it would be a twist. We have a three-way tie at the top, and Brian Davis has just made a 3 at the 10th, headed for home in fine style, so he too 11 under. It's the first time Campbell's been caught since day one. Clark's lurking and has a putt, very makeable putt at 9 to make it a four-way tie at the top. Suddenly it's getting very interesting. This is Davis at the 11th. Englishman 13th in the Volvo Order of Merit at the moment, and he's had a pretty good week. Driving distance, he's consistently in the top 10, and greens in regulation have been very impressive this week, and his putting's been exceptionally good. Should be a 4 for Michael Campbell at 6. Tony Johnson's just finished with a round of 69 to moment share 16th place with the likes of Wayne Riley. They're both in the clubhouse at 4 under. Ian Garbutt, beg your pardon, is the leader in the clubhouse at 6 under. He's just signed for a round of 67. .26 putts yesterday for Lee Westwood, but everything's 2 putts regulation today, and he's got to start making 1 or 2. Maybe what it would take. Began 2 weeks ago, 2 behind Tiger Woods in the final round, and came through to win. But just a little down on himself at the moment. We've seen how quickly that can change with Westwood and with Clark. He can get down on himself, and perhaps too severe at times. He's been working hard on that, but when he knows he's playing well, he's capable of mixing it with the best, as of course he proved in California. Turn. A little more breeze than that yesterday, but not as much as there was around in the first 2 days. Yesterday was an ideal day for scoring. Now, par 5, 7th had been a good hole for Lee Westwood previously this week, and well, the full set, par, birdie, and eagle. I should point out, of course, we get huge crowds. The one tournament we have in Sweden, maybe there's a case for more than one tournament in Sweden, and there is a little British bias here and there. Disagree with that. The headquarters are here and TV's based here. I'm sure there are matters that are discussed. In the middle of a runner playing for all this money, it seems a little odd that there's so much controversy. To be out in 32. It is a bit firm, and suddenly he's out in 33, and it's a long walk from the 9th through to the 10th tee, and just needs perhaps just to take his time, refocus, reset his sights, but that's a pity. And Brian Davis safely on the 11th is back at 7. Michael Campbell has hit a good long straight drive down the middle of the fairway. And there we are, suddenly pretty crowded at the top of that leaderboard. You wouldn't rule out Montgomery, O'Malley and Gonzalez just yet, and probably Gary Orr is running out of holes, so maybe an 8-horse race at the moment, but 3 players tied at the top, Davis and Mark James joining Michael Campbell. The immediate past 2 champions, Clark and Westwood, also in the shake-up. And just about every week, I suppose we say, the tournament starts. Back 9 on a Sunday, and here we go. Good round from Ian Garbutt, who's been a little quiet this year overall. Looking down from the Goodyear airship, down onto the oak green. There it is. That's where you'll find Mark James and Colin Montgomery. Mark a little, I don't know if he's surprised or not about the controversy about his book, which is when you get the chance to read it, very honest an account. I don't think he's told any lies. Might have been controversial in 1 or 2 places, but it was not an uncontroversial week. Anyway, it's good to see him back on the course playing well. He's not played much so far this year. This is only his 5th appearance. He missed the cut at the B&H, but now he's made 3 in a row. Lead. Really did putt exceptionally well yesterday and drove very well. He only missed 1 fairway. And he won his 2nd English Open title in 1990. Did it via a playoff where he beat Sam Torrance, the next Ryder Cup captain. Mark at the moment a vice captain for Sam. The role he performed for Seve in '97. Valderrama was an advisor and looked after a lot of the rookies. Sterling service there, which really concerns Ricardo Gonzalez. I think he's probably looking forward to a rest after this afternoon, maybe a trip home for a couple of weeks. That's the way the Argentinians tend to play, sort of blocks of 4, 5 or 6 weeks, and then 2 or 3 week rest and back again. Works very well for them. Caddy, 30-year-old from Rosario in Argentina, came off the Challenge Tour in '98. His first round 63. Campbell made a birdie here, downwind on that occasion, getting home with 4 iron quite a bit further back. It's a splendid shot. 12 for his 69 on Friday, birdie, and in the circumstances, level par 72 yesterday was certainly nothing to be ashamed of. First, Brian Davis with a putt for the lead. This for 3 and 11, good pace. Takes a while to get adjusted to winning. Had a couple of good rounds and then struggled a little at the French, and he spoke to 1 or 2 previous winners. He's always looking to learn and talk and gain from others' experiences. And he's a man who knows more than most. We're looking for positives, and maybe the bonus he will take away from what's been a slightly disappointing week is that he will go to Pebble Beach for the US Open. There are one or two areas that he can tweak and just improve a little, and he doesn't need to change much. Lee Westwood will be there as well. High fading fairway wood. Fade too far to the right. There's trouble out there. Okay, if the lie is good. Just missed the first kind of semi-rough. Probably looking to hit it up the left-hand side. Very interesting. We get a look at his grip. It's the position of the right hand at this height where he's going to try and hit it with a little draw. Just hold it up and maybe if anything fade it. Strong right hand over the top of the club, and that suggests the fade. The left-hand side goes. And again, he's missed a fairway. This week in excellent form off the tee, but he's missed a few fairways the last day or two. All about pace, and he's got it exactly right. So Gonzalez 3 birdies in the last 4 holes, out in 34, 9 under. Alongside Lee Westwood and Darren Clark sharing 4th place. 2 behind the 3 joint leaders. I think Lee Westwood's backed himself a particularly good lie here. And he's not had the best of fortune. Got a bit lucky yesterday, I guess, when at the 5th his tee shot plugged in the bunker and he holed from a post egg lie. But on the earlier holes, I think, well, the hole where he dropped a shot, which would have been 4 at a post egg with his tee shot, could only hack out 10-20 yards or so. This is the training zone with the fairway wood. It might be a 5 wood. And just trying to, that will cut through the rough. He doesn't really want to. It might be difficult for him to really get into the back of the ball with a conventional chipping club or a wedge. Mark Farid's had a low-key start till first half to his season, but a little better today for the Frenchman, 68. He's finished at 5 under. Got a good roll on that. Perfect weight. He has pushed a fraction. Just a spot or rain or two before the afternoon is through, but touching wood in the commentary box. We're going to finish everything on schedule, and that's a relief that we've started and finished on time each day after the trials and tribulations of the Volvo PGA last week. Everyone's been a little tired on and off courses as a result. This has been a good, friendly family week. A lot of players have got their wives and offspring here, including Michael Campbell. So some very relaxed atmosphere, and he really was looking for the eagle, and that's 12 feet past. See how wet the course is in places. That's why we're playing preferred lies. And have been all 4 days. One of the reasons. Oh, stunning shot again. Clark knows he has a real chance. For the lead. A little longer than perhaps it should have been. Confidently struck though, matters not. Michael Campbell has got himself back to 12 under, his first birdie of the day. His lead of 6 after round 1 was a European Tour record. He won't mind if the lead's only 1 come the end of the afternoon. But they really are putting him under pressure. There's Peter O'Malley holding for a 3 at 9 out in 35. 9 under with Gonzalez and Clark, although Clark is probably or certainly going to go to 10. Can Lee Westwood beat him there? Birdie at 12 for Gary Orr, not quite out of it either.
Behind, please.
For Lee Westwood, it's not just Michael Campbell he has to worry about. There's a couple of other players that he will need to catch. Now at 9 on the other side of the fairway, in the rough, Mark James has already played and just moved it forward back into position, well short of the green. A little unfortunate there, because coming out of that heavy rough, he might have expected the ball to release a little further up the green. So Mark James then playing 3 here at 9. That would have been some birdie. Of course, Mark James came very close to making his own team as a player, in which case he would have let Ken Brown take over the captaincy and just been a player, and maybe the book would never have happened. A lot of spin at 12 for Brian Davis. Fairly friendly pin, one that you can attack. A couple of times they've put it in close to the water's edge. See, 2 distinct 9s. This front 9 you're looking down is sort of former gravel pit farmland. And the back 9, which is now going to dominate our coverage in the next 20 minutes until the conclusion through the old forest, deer park, and ancient forest. Behind Campbell, 4 under for the day. Final 2 ball now on the 8th tee. 11, 421 yards. It's a bunker about 250 up the left-hand side, which is preferably to be avoided. Darren catches it and be carried. No, he's in it, but he can still get home. Lee Westwood was in there the other day and made the green in two. So Malley's second into 10. This is as you drive into the Marriott grounds. This is the first hole you see. It's manicured. First impression so important. See some of these English oaks on the back nine. Gonzalez just about topping the driving stats for distance. Mighty Argentinians, Cabrera and Romero, they will give it a big ride as well. Now let's take a little more detailed look at the stretch of holes that will concern us for the next, almost now, Deer's Leap. And there is the Deer's Leap with a couple of bridges for the less athletic. So you feel that you're at badminton for the horse trials when you see an obstacle like that, but it's a slightly uphill second. Oh, that measures 434 yards. Then the 11th, Baden's Drive. And there's that bunker which is caught out Darren Clark. It's again slightly uphill, turning slightly right. If you make pars there, you're fairly happy. Then you come to 12, a par 5, a 543 yard Coots Island. And if you make a birdie, you don't give a hoot. Water the problem though today the pin reasonably generously cut 24 paces on 6 from the right, so taking a lot of that water out of the equation. That hasn't always been the case this week. And Brian Davis with a birdie putt, couldn't get on in two. Second at the 8th. And had to dig that one out. Fairly full swing and not bad. Could be a two-shot swing. This is a very quick putt, and has he got this one? Well, it's about time. That will be a big relief for Lee Westwood. Probably feels he's arrived in this tournament on the final day now. 10 under, alongside his stablemate Darren Clark. 2 behind Michael Campbell, but Campbell's got a little bit of work to do to stay at 12 under, as we know. Good save. It's still level par for his round, but I just suspect level par won't be good enough to win. He will need a couple. He'll need to get to probably 14 at least. He's got to pick up a couple of shots somewhere. You can see that Mark James made that putt to save his par. Pretty good fall for James at 9. Colin Montgomery didn't make his birdie putt as you saw, but tapped in for his par. He's at 8 under the turn, and 4 shots. That's a long way behind with 9 holes to go. particularly when you don't feel that you're quite at your very, very best. Ali Gonzalez not out of it, but still not one to call at the moment, one to enjoy. Good week for David Lynn, who's now made 13 cuts out of 13 events this year. Marvellous consistency. Greg Turner, who's tasted the winning feeling at the Forest in the past. Steve Webster's chances were hit at the third, where he took an 8, triple bogey 8. A round of 68 for Wayne Riley. A little further down, John Bickerton has just finished his round. Bickerton a 70 to close. David Howe also a 17 eagle at 17, the highlight of David's back nine. Mark McNulty, one holder, plays at 3 under. Solid week for Roger Winchester. It's not always the leaderboard excursions. It's sort of £5,000–6,000 checks that you can pick up. Finishing in the pack. That's if you're rather less gifted than Lee Westwood, who, since he announced that he was undermotivated, couldn't get going, didn't know what he was doing, and won about £400,000, and every chance of adding to that this afternoon substantially. There's the drive. They're not again, not off the very back tee. It's still a fearsome drive for most, and Campbell, by driving up the left-hand side, has opened up the green. Good line, no reason why I shouldn't get this one on the green. Well, certainly had the lane just pushed a fraction, and will be dependent on the line. That's a trend that's come in recent years, really. We've learned that from America, growing up. The collards are rough around the greens. Dropping a shot at 10, clearing the green, leaving the way clear for James and Montgomery. Mark James will be chuffed to pieces to get away for a 4 at the ninth. Almost back in for a 3, didn't he? Colin Montgomery just dropped the 1 shot in his back 9 this week. Was at the 13th yesterday. Just trying to work out the wind.
How far right?
9-4 from right.
Take a look at the. He can't afford to go to the right. Maybe right, it's a fairly neutral left-hand grip, and then trying to shape this, starting it on the left, and if it drifts back it does, but it hasn't happened. So he's not quite at his very best, and in some ways he's been so consistent for a few weeks now that may be not a bad thing, that there's something extra left to give at Pebble Beach when the time comes. Not ruled out Darren Clark either, still seeking his first major. Most of these stars will miss next week's Wales Open down at Celtic Manor, and because it's west coast of America, get over to California probably the middle of next week, and or next weekend at the latest, and give themselves a chance to acclimatise and practice, get to know the course, which we're told is a little different to past Pebble Beaches. They set these open courses up so difficult, and they're so testing, narrow ribbons of fairway.
Get over the bunker. He's got the
Knew straight away, and furious with himself, and just hoping that the ball hasn't plugged. Up the hill. Only a 7 for Lee Westwood. Friendly creatures, these birdies. They tend to flock together, and a chance for 2 in a row for the Worksop Wonder. Mum and Dad have been here all week. I suspect they're not far away again. Now the real problems for Brian Davis at 13 is second shot, we understand, hit a tree and ricocheted into the ferns, and real problems. It was the second shot we're hearing that hit the tree. His mum and dad may well be in there as well. They run a florist family business in North London. There's Eddie Hearn, who's son of Barry Hearn, managing 1 or 2 players. And Brian's not one of them. He didn't know having a look for the ball. Now Darren looking to save par.
Where's he going? Where's he going?
Doesn't get too down by that. He can get on to 12 in 2 and get the shot back. Well, the search goes on. They've got 5 minutes. Ryan playing with David Lynn, who is one of Eddie's players. That's why the tall lad at the back there is in looking. They found it. Whether he can play it. Lucky break. Pitched into the face, Mark James, and came back, so didn't plug. Routine shot really, but you never tire of watching those sort of results. He'd be the first man to win this trophy 3 times. And well, it wasn't. They found a ball, but it wasn't Brian Davis's, so the search goes on, and it's becoming a little frantic now. His only option will be to go back and play another ball from the place where he played his second. They'll be playing 4. There's the hotel, the main entrance coming up in the middle of your picture now, and through you go past reception, and out the other side of the restaurant is the 9th green. Quite clearly see that Michael Campbell has decided that he will not win this title by defending. He has to go out and make birdies of his own. His putting's been aggressive. Run the last 6 weeks for Conor Montgomery, never out of the top 10, a couple of wins, up to second in the Volvo order of merit, putting the pressure on Darren Clark, who at the start of the run looked to be almost home and dry. So much money to play for, and Darren least of all would have known that that was far from the case. There is good, strong, dry, perfect position now. If he can get thereabouts in 2, he's got a chance of getting the shot, but he drops 11 right back. What about this one? They've found another one. Is this the one? Now what he can do, if he's not sure, is mark it, lift it, identify it, then replace. 36 for Lee Westwood. Two of those awkward lengths that Michael Campbell has held in the last 3 holes. Gets him to the turn also in 36 and preserves that slender one-shot lead from Mark James and Brian Davis. And of course Davis in deep trouble down in the forest, something stirred. Just found this ball, they've had to have another look if he's not careful. Claus, he's got it out, well done. But he's played 3. Shorter than the one that Darren Clark missed. Terrific second half for Tony Johnston. Back in 32, 4 under for a round of 69. He's finished at 4 under and a back 9 that 1 or 2 people, if they could, would be very anxious to buy, including Mark James.
Shot.
There's a mischievous streak in James, and he would see the funny side of when his book's been making all the headlines and articles of actually sneaking through and winning the tournament. And sort of thoughts that occurred to Colin Montgomery as well. A fairway miss, most un-Monty-like. 13, Brian Davis playing 4. Looks like Darren's laying up. You can't blame him. Last 2 days at 17 faced with a similar shot. He's hit into the water on both occasions.
Yeah.
Ricardo Gonzalez has marked his ball. And he's about 3 foot left. We're all Peter O'Malley out. He started his second round with 5 straight birdies, and he's capable of that sort of streaky run. Although we're told this is for par. Double bogey sadly for Brian Davis, who slips back into a share of 5th with Darren Clark now, and 3 shots behind Michael Campbell. Difficult with the holes running out to come back from that, but mentally he's pretty tough. That is good fortune. Didn't have too many putts on the first 9. Hold a chip for eagle at the 3rd, and a bunker shot for birdie at 9, out in 31. So maybe the luck's starting to balance up a little, and Davis's race isn't quite run, not yet. Campbell though caught, but only for a short while, still 1 ahead. So the front nine all done and dusted. And we're into the park. It's a good tournament for Ian Garbutt, who's been a little quiet lately, and the ever consistent, or increasingly consistent, David Lynn going along nicely at 6 under. Martin Lefebvre, who's played just about as well, he's played more tournaments than Lynn, with slightly less success. Good to see Mark Parry enjoying a profitable week. Pin's a long way back, 28 paces, and a narrow part of the green. Difficult to really make yourself get close enough. Aaron got a flyer there. Did hear, I don't know if it's 100% true, but it might be that Sebi, one of the problems he had, or adding to his problems, he had a book, a distance book that was in yards, and he thought it was 27 holes before he realised it was yards, not meters, and he kept hitting everything a bit long. Yes, get the feeling that Colin Montgomery, not exactly losing interest, but probably realising this is not going to be his week. He has terrific reserves of and resilience. He may well finish sort of top 3 or 4, but I think victory is now looking beyond the Scot. The same story probably for Peter O'Malley and Ricardo Gonzalez. Gary Orr, since that birdie at 12, a couple of pars, and nothing wrong with that. 13 and 14, you're happy to walk off with 4s. A little further down, confirmation of the good round, 3 in Garbutt and Mark Farry. Likewise, Wayne Riley a 6-8, and Riley will now pass the amount of money he needs to keep his card, so he can relax a little. I know he was deliberately working very hard in this first half of the season, and if you'd done what Riley did 2 seasons ago, missed 8 cuts in a row when you thought you got enough money and ended up at tour school, I think you'd be inclined to get out there and get the job done as quickly as you could, and he's done that. Well done, Wayne. View down from the airship, looking down on the 10th. And, there you can see the top of your picture, the spectacles really, the 17th and 12th greens, which used to be a double green, but they've grown a collar of rough in between, which is a bit thicker than a collar now, probably about 10 yards across. Lee Westwood's hit a perfect drive at 10. This is the way the hole has been playing. 7th hardest on the course over the course of the week. It's a fairly generous fairway. That tree can be a problem. You can hit the fairway and be blocked out by the oak tree, but Westwood is long and past that, and Campbell likewise with this ERC driver that he won't be able to take to Pebble Beach. Got the invite, personal invitation to go and play, and from the USGA. That almost ought to be automatic for the man who wins the Australasian Order of Merit. That should be automatic. One. downhill. Once you get past the hole, it starts to pick up a little bit of speed. A win in the Johnny Walker Classic was the first on the European Tour for Michael Campbell. It was a big mental barrier he had to overcome. You see that's a narrow area, and from the left-hand side, only 5 paces. The first 9 yesterday, these were all seemed to be dropping for Mark James. Even 1 or 2, it looks like they might stay out. Suddenly dived into the hole. You have days like that sometimes. Pros will probably tell you have more days like that. Anthony Wall, the Alfred Dunhill champion, just finished with a round of 69 in the clubhouse at 4 under. Darren Clark couldn't afford to drop 2 shots in a row. Supercharged, turbocharged finish. And for all the toing and throwing, Michael Campbell has looked relatively unflustered. He's missed a couple of greens and got up and down. And Lee Westwood hasn't really been able to make any impression, and is still 2 behind. Here, the club just getting underneath that a little. Came off top half of the blade. Conor Montgomery will spend the next couple of days hopefully resting up and psyching himself up. But he's not going to win this English Open. Well, here's a real chance for Campbell. Turning. Oh, he knew 3-4 feet away, and that's a hammer blow from the Kiwi. 13 under, and that's unlucky for his rivals, not for Michael. Leads by 2. Of course, when he won the Heineken Classic, his second win on the European Tour, he won that by 6, and more or less led from the wire there. The buggy just roaring off. Mark James did quite well to stop the backswing, which was just about to be triggered, and walk away. Of Mark McNulty, who just compiled a 71. He's finished at 3 under. This is getting a little more comfortable for Michael Campbell. Lee Westwood will slip back to 9 under, 4 behind his fellow competitor. Greg Turner, by the way, 3 pars from the turn. He's still at 5 under. Brian Davis has a putt for birdie here at 14. A chance to get one of those two. He dropped back at 13. Tie for third with Darren Clark and Lee Westwood. Campbell going with the surely going with the 3-wood and taking that bunker out of play by not being able to reach it. Smart play. Lee Westwood is committed to attacking, and it's not been a good hole for Lee Westwood over the course of the week, and he's walked off the last 2 days with a bogey 5 on the card. Green to hit. Stately pile, top of your picture. So on the estate, trout fishery. Campbell leading from Mark James by 2. James was second in last year's Volvo PGA to Colin Montgomery. Won £180,000, biggest check of his career. So Darren Clark's biggest check, the $1 million that he got from Anderson Consulting for his match play win. Right with the start of a charge. Lay up for Mark James. Colin Montgomery's already done likewise. Davis on the 15th. He's playing with David Lim. We haven't really seen anything of the man known as the British coat hanger, but he made a 3 at 13 where Brian Davis was making 6 and a 4 at 14. So Lim quite handily placed at 7 under, sharing 9th with Colin Montgomery at the moment. That's the 15th, the road hole. Again, big green, but they've tucked that pin away over those 2 bunkers. Peter O'Malley makes a birdie at 12. So it gets back to shot. He dropped at 11. And he's at 9 under. And in the same position as Lee Westwood, Darren Clark, they all need a really lucrative run, because don't get the feeling that this man's going to give it away. He's getting stronger and stronger. Might have come through as many crashes. That first birdie at 7 would have been important. Get through the turn, no worse than level par, and then pick up the shot at 10. That's the bonus. Feeling good. Six iron for Lee Westwood. No, he's again, I think having had such a lucrative fortnight, will probably say, well, that's it, slight dip in form, and it's just fine-tuned again for the trip to Pebble Beach. Beautiful oak trees that line the fairways on this back 9. See middle top of your picture, the 18th green across the lake. 4 iron, the pin no doubt will be tucked behind that one bunker. Traditional round 4 placing. Three putted here yesterday, which for a while stopped him in his tracks. Great chance for Clark. Sure, he won't be short. He's got a good aggressive roll going on his putts, and 1 or 2 have been a little unfortunate just to lip out. Tell you, he's enjoying this. What they work for is defending champion. Whatever happens, he's made a terrific fist of defending on a course where he's also had 3 top 5 finishes in the past, so he's very comfortable. He's comfortable in most places, mind you. Got that putter going, and 3 behind. We told you at 15 how that pin was hidden behind or tucked behind those 2 bunkers, and Brian Davis falling foul. Maybe half a club short, maybe a little heavy with this tee shot, but uphill putt for his par. James is 47 now, keeps himself very fit, and if he manages to do that, we'll make an absolute fortune on the seniors tour, hopefully here in Europe. Although I would think he'd be tempted to try his luck if he gets 1 or 2 invites in the start in the US. Never been a great traveller though. Spent his whole career on the European tour. Once or twice has declined the opportunity to travel across to play in US Opens. Got a good record in the Open Championship this side of the pond though over the years. More problems for Lee Westwood on perhaps his least favourite hole at the Forest. likes it a little more now. That's the way to get your round going. 300, maybe he's not out of it yet. Becomes important, you ranking over the next month or so, get you into all sorts of big time events. Brian Davies might have his sights set on maybe a place in the England team for the Alfred Dunhill Cup World Cup, which is mega bucks down in Argentina this year. Michael Campbell is yet undecided whether he's going or not. Much depends on Campbell. If he goes, then New Zealand will get in. If he decides not to play, they may not have a player ranked high enough to gain entry. The criteria has changed a little this year for that event. I think Michael Campbell might be persuaded.
Come on.
Par at the 11 for Campbell. Still leaded by 2 from Mark James. Darren Clark may be the man to watch and Lee Westwood. Just when I was starting to write him off, back in the picture. Probably between those 4. It's more or less impossible to get home in 2, but to twice this week when he's got that driver going, Michael Campbell has been as long as anybody. Point being though, he probably doesn't need to go for the green in 2.
Yeah, try.
13 for Greg Turner, par at 14, he's at 600, sharing 11. Zarnes, his best finish this year, in fact his best career finish on tour, share of 2nd in the South African Open. He's won Opens in South America, in Uruguay, Chile and Brazil. So Gary Orr, again, he's a collector of top 10 finishes really. Par at the 15th for David Lynn. Turner just picking up that shot at 13. Greg Turner on the tee at 15. Yeah. Be a nice time to make a hole in 1 or 2 would do. Course about midway between the cities of Birmingham and Coventry. To a place in Coventry last night. Jumping Jacks, it was jumping as well, about 1,000 people in there. I think I was the oldest. Now 17, just about reachable in 2. Gary Orr at 8 under, looking for the big finish. left, it's the water that's right. Ooh, he's very safe, very dry. Tricky pin. Darren Clark, can he keep the momentum going? Second to 14. He just might. He just might. An advantage of over £200,000 over Colin Montgomery at the top of the money list. And that's a little sub battle that's going to entertain us throughout the summer. Could be a significant move this afternoon. O'Malley's been very consistent in recent weeks. He's had 3 top 10s in the last 4 tournaments. Every chance of making it 4 out of 5. Campbell not having to go for the green in 2 and not interested. Just lay up. The other's got to come at him. Round of 71 for Gary Evans, back in 34 with a drop shot at the last. And a round which included a double bogey at 6. He's finished at 4 under. Top 20 finish, sharing 16th at the moment. This green's just not reachable in 2. I'm sure if there had been a chance, Lee Westwood would have given chase. Over the last year or 2, they made modifications to this layout with the tournament in mind. Michael King is an official of the European Tour. Many of you remember as a fine player. Been much in evidence this week, and as Gonzalez rolls in another putt, discussions probably as we speak going on concerning the future of this event. And Gonzalez getting himself to 9 under now. To 16. Just a wedge. Pin 12 paces on again. Hidden away a little to the left hand side, and he's left himself a slightly uphill putt. This is where Colin Montgomery dropped the shot yesterday. Not happy today either. I suspect I'm not making excuses for him, but with the added time of going home each day and coming back in the morning, tiredness from exertions last week might have caught up with him again. James is the doughty, very experienced campaigner, and second on his own at the moment. Far too soon to write him off. That's the view on the right of the 17th, with the top of your pitch at the 12th green. 14, a putt for 2 birdies in a row for Darren Clark. And he's already made 7 birdies in this round, so the putter's hot. He's had a couple just slip out. I think he might make this. Straight in the middle. Clark to 11 under alongside James. 3 we saw Gonzalez make was at 14 also a moment ago, so that's 2 in a row for the Argentinian as well, who's 10 under alongside Lee Westwood. But Darren Clark's starting to look very threatening now. And usually when Clark makes a move, although he's not playing with him, Westwood does likewise. That's not so good. Way to the left, Gary Orr's third at the par 5 17. Plenty of green to work with. They're using the contours very well. So in the heart of England, it's getting rather exciting. Campbell by 2 from Clark and James. Davies a chance to join Gonzalez and Westwood at 3 behind. Come on. No. He's putted so well the first 2 days. And the front 9. Two years ago, maybe even last year, Michael Campbell would have wilted for sure under the sort of pressure he's been put under, but he seems to thrive on it at the moment. It's a pretty good ball. It's an excellent ball. 5 under for today's round, Gary Orr. Became a father for the first time 3 or 4 weeks ago, and back in the groove now. Huge putt for Mark James. Head professional at the Forest of Arden, the Marriott Forest of Arden. Kim Thomas has arrived. The best thing about Kim's arrival is he's accompanied by a cup of coffee. We watch Lee Westwood looking for 2 birdies in a row up the hill, short on line. And might have given a read to Michael Campbell. This is the man that Campbell's got to look out for. Well, welcome, Kim. And Campbell in control, but Darren Clark is just starting to look very good indeed, and he won't know it, but this is an important putt for Campbell.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Always hard to push it down far enough down the right-hand side there on that par 5 12th. Hard to believe that line. Atmosphere is absolutely electric out there this afternoon. Just come in and the crowd are buzzing.
What I was saying, one that Sergio Gomez reported as this is Tharbal's manager is saying there's too much bias towards British tournaments. We'll be 11 or 12 over here. One of the reasons, as we were saying, is we've got crowds to support the events and sponsors to put up the money. And yeah, I don't know if Sergio's been reported accurately, but it's a bit a case of biting the hand that feeds you when even Sevi gets his event and puts it on in Britain. So the leader's now into 13 and 15. I've got the expert to talk us through. Kim Thomas, head professional down in the Forest.
Straight away, very long par 4, 13th here. Tee's been moved forward for this week, 474 yards off the very back tee. drive up to the large oak on the left-hand side. Easy with the second shot to a well-protected green. 14 used to be a dog leg to the right, a little straighter these days, brand new green. Bronc on the left-hand side is the only real hazard. Tee shot just over the road. And the new green, a bowl rather than the old shelf green we used to have here. That's the view from the right-hand side of the fairway for the second shot. And 15, very inviting par 3. Tee perched about 15 feet above the green. A two-level green with the back level on back left. My guess would be the flags there today, Steve. I'm not completely sure.
It's over on the left, and Darren Clark's very close to it. Lovely part of the world. You ever been to Jumping Jacks?
That sounds like a disease.
No, it's a I was the oldest person in there. You know, that sicky feeling, you think, where's the loo? And you look across and it's 100 yards away through about 5,000 people, and you think, by the time I get back I have to go again. Time to leave. James still giving chase, although still feeling Darren Clark is the man who might pose the biggest threat to Michael Campbell. It's been an impressive performance by the Kiwi, take nothing away from him. Fairway for Westwood, or on the fairway. Campbell's still got to get through 14, where he's dropped a shot in each of the first 3 rounds. Must be delighted that the weather's so much better and so the atmosphere electric. People enjoying their golf.
Yeah, it's quite calm out there in terms of weather conditions, but it adds to the atmosphere, as you know, Stephen. You get a calm, almost humid feel to it. And you see amongst the trees is where you hear applause and roars from other parts of the course, and it just builds up to a crescendo. 76 players made the cut, which came Friday night at 2 over. It's our first view today of 18. You'll see in a minute the pin in its traditional last day position. And it's a little, this needs to draw in because it's away to the left hand side. That's certainly starting out on the right hand side. Would have been a great shot 2 days ago. Yes, the Sunday best position, this one, quite close to that back left edge.
Darren Clark was telling your friend of mine, Robert Lee, yesterday that he felt his 3rd round performance about the best ball striking round he'd had since the win in La Costa, and I think he's played even better today.
He's pretty much on a level with the hole here at the back left side of the green at 15. Might come a touch from his right.
He may get 3 in a row, yep. Yep. And the Irish are flocking to the Forest of Arden from all over Warwickshire, it appears. That is 1, 2, 5, 8 birdies in this round. And he's only one behind. He's got 16, driving a wedge maybe to come 17. That's going to be the key hole for Darren. An eagle on day 1, in the water on day 2 and 3. Oh, this is setting up so well.
Certainly is. 3 threes would be nice for Darren to finish with.
3 threes will be amazing. He's 6 under. 3 threes would see him equaling the course record of 63, which set twice by Colin Montgomery, technically equalled by Michael Campbell in round 1. Of course, they were playing preferred lines, so it doesn't count as an official record. Won't worry Michael Campbell too much. And again, we're lifting and placing. I was explaining at the start of this telecast that Kenny Mackay, your new greenkeeper here, moved up from the Marriott at Hanbury Manor. Got a slightly longer term agenda, and he knows it's going to take him 12 months or so to get the fairways the way that he wants them.
Yeah, he's a little too much thatch underneath for his liking, so he's prepared to starve them for a while and make the root growth a little deeper, deep aeration as much as possible, given the commercial interests here. Of course, it's a tough job to get these fairways worked on enough.
pin. Are you able in any way to quantify the effect the upturn in business being a European Tour venue brings in?
Yes, you can tend to measure it not so much by traffic numbers, if you like, but by income derived from the traffic. It basically allows you to be able to charge a premium green fee, and that just isn't a cashing in business, because of course the investment is quite enormous into things like drainage, preparation and overall finish, but you can charge a premium rate on a green fee which is deserved on a championship course if you put the money into it.
It's a fairly conservative tee shot at 16. We just saw from Darren Clark, didn't take the angle, the dog leg on over the trees, kept it in play. Meanwhile at 13. It's a 7 iron in for Lee Westwood. Just feel we're getting that sort of period of play where everybody's lifting everybody else. And,
Jesse. Pretty good. Very hard to get very close to that flag, Stephen, because that flag really is tight on that bunker from where these players view it.
Again, a little chip, but the lie should be good and may be out of place.
It's the one shot with Michael I've noticed over the last couple of days. He tends to get that slight pull shot coming in. You may have noticed he was aiming quite a long way right there with the second shot. Still managed to put it down the left side.
Long putt for Gary Orr. I'll tell you, that's some adjustment. He'll tap that in. It will be a round of 67. He will set the clubhouse target at 900. It's not going to win, but it's going to be a big check for the Surrey-based Scot. But there's quite a lot of the Scots based in Surrey these days, because they're all doing rather well out of the game of golf. Pros are always pleased when they keep a bogey off the card.
Yes, I was going to say it's a good round of golf to keep your bogey off your card here.
Starts at 15. Haven't had a hole-in-one this week. Tim Thomas will be in this chair next week at the Wales Open down at Celtic Manor. And be looking as a Welshman, he'll be looking forward to that. But searching out the karaoke bars of Newport.
So I'll be doing the entire coverage in Welsh, of course.
Makes a change for your normal double Dutch. I bet you're looking forward to that, because it's a lovely venue. They're very proud of being Welsh down there as well, and it's a good Welsh entry.
Yes, it's a big turn on for Mr. Matthews, the owner of Celtic Manor, to keep that very Welsh identity going. He's certainly put a lot of millions into making that place a strong venue and a very big attraction down there these days.
He's a patriotic Scot. If you want to write to us on any matter on the European Tour or an event that you want to mention, Steve Beddow at hotmail.com will eventually find its way to us.
It's pretty slick, this putt.
Yeah, Monty, all areas of the game now just need a little bit of tweaking. And I've said it before, I don't know, I'd like your opinion on it. I think that's, in a way, if you're not going to win, that's quite a positive to take out of this. Just know where I can improve, just make that little percent or two that might bring me that major.
Yes, that's true. He's striking the ball as well as ever, of course, and I think it's a question of, easy to say, but the mental attitude going into the tournament as well in any of these majors is so vital to him, how he approaches his feeling towards the field and the tournament itself, and the real belief that he can really win this thing and to get a hold of the tournament like he can with any European tournament, it seems.
I'm sure Michael Campbell has left himself a bit to do at 13. Will be well aware of the move being made by Darren Clark, and it's one that has to be taken seriously because the jungle drums beat on the range, and if Darren Clark said it's the best I played since Lacoste, you can bet that all his rivals will be aware of the fact. And plus there's the evidence they practiced side by side. It'll be just having a look, and when they were making their final preference, let's have a look, see how Clark, oh, he's hidden it well. Where's Monty's having a sandwich?
It's interesting, he'd been practicing out there this morning, Darren Clark, from, well, fully 10 o'clock. Spent a lot of time out there this morning, the first half an hour rearranging his cigars.
But Mark James seemed to spend most of his time on the putting green. Let's see if it pays off. Come on. Yep. Oh, yes. I just think it would be delicious if Mark James were to win this. I don't mind who wins it. You know, Michael Campbell, Darren Clark, Mark James, but I could see the delicious irony in this week of all weeks if Jess were to lift the trophy for a third time.
He's having one of those days, isn't he? He wasn't too happy on the second hole, I noticed earlier on today. I managed to grab a sneak look at the television in our hospitality suite, and a bit of club chucking even early on in the round this morning.
Yeah, yeah. Happens occasionally. Usually merits are fine if observed. Now Clark from a little further back at the 16th. And again, he's given himself a chance of 4 in a row and a share of the lead. And a broad smile. Hey, look at that, Billy. I can play this game. Billy said, hey up, I knew that.
Got to keep this on the right half here, Michael.
Well, he'd made 2 of that length, 1 for birdie, 1 to save par on the front line, and the pressure possibly telling. And for the second time in this final round, Michael Campbell's been caught at the top of the leaderboard. There's a 3-way tie between Campbell, James and Clark.
Ricardo Gonzalez, good birdie chance for 10 under here, 15, slightly uphill.
Oh, don't rule him out. He's you normally have a little wager on him, don't you?
I do. He's kind of 50 to 1 shot every week, and it's good money. He's got to win sometime, surely.
Well, if the leaderboard stays like that, I think top 4 he wins your placement. You get an each way bet, don't you? Oh, you only do him to win.
I'm an amateur bettor.
Silly boy.
Not like you experienced pros.
Yes, experienced pros never bet. I think I found golf was the hardest sport in the world to bet on because there's so many potential winners.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Now, right half of the fairway is perfect here, and he knows it.
Oh, again, lie will depend, and it's crunch time for Michael Campbell, just coming off a bogey onto a hole that he's yet to par this week. And ahead at 16, Darren Clark staring this one down. This of the ones he's made 3 in a row now. This is perhaps the hardest that he's had for a hole or two.
He's slightly below the level of the hole here. It's quite quick, and it needs to take a lot of time over this because it's very hard to read the actual line. It's almost a green within a green here on this left corner.
I don't know if it's my impression the putting surface has got better as the week's gone on.
Yeah, the weather drying up a little bit as we've gone on has really helped us because Kenny can trim them a fraction lower, not much, but just a fraction lower, and keep that consistency up. I wonder if this is going to be the first one of his 3 threes that we mentioned.
It's for the lead. It's got a good roll. Oh, it's in. Was never, ever going anywhere else. Darren Clark, the defending champion, has made 4 birdies in a row. He's made 10 in his round. He's 7 under for round 4. He's 13 under for the tournament. He leads, and it's the first time since day 1 that Michael Campbell has been knocked off the perch.
Interestingly, Steve, you've seen all the action here. I think Clark's been in the water twice on 17, hasn't he?
It's a crunch. Oh, it is, and he made an eagle first round, and well, if he gets a couple of shots in front, he might be able to lay up.
I don't think he will, though. I really don't.
Not in his nature. He's actually got a lot of room on when the time comes. He's got a lot of room on 70 on the left-hand side. It's a difficult pin to take on.
Jamesy talking to it. Hold up. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, the 17th that Darren Clark's got coming up is a double dog leg par 5, so it really is a big driving hole if you can get it turning round the corner. It's that large oak on the left corner as well, which you've really got to be careful with. Back 9 here at the Forest of Arden. Very much the spirit of the forest. Ferns, large oaks. Comes into its own around July and August time when the ferns are really high.
The spirit of the forest was the last gin and tonic you were having at the barbecue last night. Did that go well?
It went very well indeed, Steve.
Just a par at 17 for Brian Davis. Likewise for David Lynn, who dropped the shot at 16. He slipped back to 6 under. Matthias Gronberg has finished with a 72. Nick O'Hearn is 71. They're both at 5 under.
It's on Lee Westwood's drive down the right side of the 14th. This is the view back from behind the green, and Westwood just in the left corner of the picture, but playing partner Campbell, he doesn't want this one to go left. That's pretty good. Good 6-iron for Michael.
He may, when he needs it most, he may make profit at 14. Tee shot for Clark. Broad, long and true. And is he okay there?
Yes, but it pulled up real sharp. He could have just done with a 10 yards of run there. Makes all the difference for the second shot.
So make a decision, do I go for it now in 2? Westwood trying to punch that one in and get it chasing on, and that's what it's done, but chased past the pin.
Yeah, a little swale down that back right of the green as well. That'll just almost run away from the hole. That's a long putt he's got there. Tough one. Couple of, maybe 3 borrows involved. Mark James birdie attempt at the par 3 15th.
I wonder if we can have back-to-back defenders of titles. The first man to defend a title this year, Colin Montgomery, last week at Wentworth, the Volvo PGA. Can Darren Clark do it in the English Open? Will Mark James have the final say? Again, it's a difficult one to call. But you feel the momentum may be going with Clark and against everybody else, including Gonzalez, who went for the carry.
It's do or die here on 16. He's seen some smelly stuff there.
Oh, Marshy. the water's short, he was taking no chance. Now the water comes into the equation again as he chips back down what's quite a fast green.
Yes, he does, but those spectators had a dodge there. They're standing below the level of the green because it drops down about 5 feet behind there.
Probably the water is okay because of the angle he's got. Colin Montgomery's already made a par at 15, and Mark James follows him in for the 3.
Looks like being the first time Monty's outside the top 2 here.
Yeah, I mean, the 6th or 10th. But he's not quite been at his best. He's only made the 1 birdie all day, and that's unusual for Colin Montgomery. And at the moment down, just hanging on to a place in the top 10 at 8th. Lee Westwood first to putt at 14. Peter O'Malley, by the way, playing with Ricardo Gonzalez. His chances has gone a 6 at 13, a 4 at 15. He's back at equal 9th at 6 under with Greg Turner and David Lynn.
Right, big double breaker here for Westwood on 14. He's in a very low swale at the back of the green there. So he goes uphill and right to left at first, and then it swings down across to the right at the end. Might get the strength to carry that line, so not too far left to start off with.
James at the 16th, mustn't be too greedy. It's a brave shot and a very good one. Very good one. Interesting. Maybe Darren Clark, maybe because he was going well, might have taken the 3 wood and just played for the angle.
Here we go.
Yeah, well, do or die in the water the last 2 days, trying hard to push those thoughts out of his mind. Think only of the first day eagle. It's a good contact. It's a safe shot in many ways. He's got a nice, comfortable chip downhill, but plenty of green to work with, and he's dry.
Campbell for 3.
And he's still ahead.
Very hard for Darren to try and fade that shot into that 17th after having been in that water twice. Real hard shot to make yourself play.
But the way he's playing must feel chipping the putt. I'll get to 14 under. And suddenly Campbell, who's been defending all week, is chasing. Different mindset.
Steve, I gather this man has chipped in twice this afternoon.
Yeah, he did at the 3rd, the par 5, and a bunker shot at 9. He was a little unlucky, ricocheted off a tree at 13 for a 6, but that's going to be a round of 68 for Brian Davis.
Westwood to stay at 10 under.
Thought for Steve Webster, who's playing with Darren Clark since at 8 at the 3rd. He's at a birdie and then pars all the way, and he's at 4 under. Obviously he's not in contention. Just look on and see how it's done. Clark by 1 from James, and Campbell. James has hit a crackerjack of a drive at 16.
Steve, were you able to see Webster's 8 at 3?
No, and he's probably quite pleased that we didn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Saying there's a bit of extra pressure on Steve Webster being a local man. A lot of people coming out from Coventry. He's a king of Coventry.
Yes, he is. A lot of our members here at the Forest are keen followers of Beddow.
Yeah, he's going to win one day sooner rather than later on tour, but it's not going to be this afternoon.
Great swing, crisp as you like.
Good finish from David Lynn from Stoke-on-Trent, 2 at the 18th, 70. 7 under, hasn't missed a cut. I think that's 13 out of 13 now, or maybe even 14 out of 14, but again another top 10.
Ricardo Gonzalez has done very well to get here from that third shot, having missed the green. It's for par.
Good save. He's just about number 1 on the driving distance stats, so there's no doubt that he can get home with 2 good ones at 17.
You'd have him and Angel Cabrera as the bouncers for you, wouldn't you, in a nightclub or two?
I think that Jumping Jacks may have been on duty actually.
Overhead view of the 15th alongside the Meriden Road here, bordering the course at the Forest of Arden.
Just a little bit of breeze around, not much, but you're sort of looking at the treetops, chucking a bit of grass in the air, and maybe looking at clouds as well.
Coming out of the west slightly, and a tad left to right for Lee here, but hardly at all.
I mean, the care and attention indicates that he hasn't given this one up just yet.
That certainly is a 9-iron, it's a 6.
It might be over now for him.
It's not nice. The tour like it to be pretty fluffy if you miss the greens on these par 3s, and it certainly is over there.
Got an input from the tour agronomists in preparation of the course?
Yeah, Jack McMillan's been up a few times and just monitoring things really. He's got great confidence in our man Kenny.
Great confidence in our Ryder Cup captain Mark James, and I say he was not a million miles away from making the team as a player, and perhaps wished he had in retrospect. But well, he's a birdie putt, uphill birdie putt to go to 13 under. Just 10 players left out on the course. That's a nasty one for Campbell as well.
Absolutely, there's no justification for that, because that wind really isn't doing much at all. Yes, one would imagine if James had made the team in 10th spot or 12th spot or whatever, and much better bet with respect to Sandlin and Coulthard, playing once on the last day.
Ken Brown would have been the captain, which would have been
interesting.
and that would have been in prospect. Yeah, he wouldn't have done a bad job. He did a pretty good job as a vice captain, I have to say. Clark by 1 from James. James with the birdie putt at 16, and the momentum seems to have disappeared from Michael Campbell's challenge. It's been a long week for the Kiwi. The pressure of leading from day 1.
Darren Biggin left on 17. Gently does it. Gently.
Slow down. Slow down. Again, he's left himself that length of putt, which he's been very confident. He's made pretty well 4 in a row now. Can he make it 5? Certainly a lot of the photographers feel that Clark's the man. Matthew Harris just walking across.
He's got the ball below the hole now, of course. That's one good thing about it, but it's probably foreshortened by the camera. What do you think? 6, 7 feet?
At least. At least. Uphill though, and he would have stayed down, I've no doubt, and just watched the chip go by, just to reinforce his thoughts on the line.
Club Golfers Graveyard here on 16. This
Not a good place for a cameraman. They are right down at duck level. We haven't seen the geese today. Barbecue yesterday, the two connected.
was rather delicious, actually. Yeah.
Lucky Monty was close, wasn't he? Must have spun back off the green.
So unlucky.
He's chipped him once.
Whoa. Hard work from there. It's a funny putt. That little water hazard at the front, Steve, it really is a great feature on this 16th. It's a little squiggly, little cheeky par 4 with a dog leg right. That water hazard really catches him out.
How often do you let the divers in there?
Yeah, we got a regular contract with a few guys that go in there and fish a few thousand out every 3 months.
One of the key moments of the Compass Group English Open coming up. Mark James to share the lead, and shortly afterwards the other man in red, Darren Clark, to take it again.
So I just love to see where he's on the green, because it's a huge difference here if you're below the hole or on the side of the hill. Just a gentle slope, that's why he's taking his time. He'll be tempted to push this pretty firmly on the right side and hair too much, and it just rides up the hill.
Watch his left wrist as well. That's the friendly spectator that watched him practicing after round 2. So firm that left wrist up, and he did, and hold everything yesterday. He might be getting a complimentary copy of the book. Oh, I thought he got it.
That's just the one. That
Yeah.
putt that just rides up there.
Advantage Clark.
It's only pace actually, because of that line had to be dead pace.
Now Campbell trying to get up and down. Keep his hopes alive. He's not out of it yet. You just feel the tide has turned against him.
Somewhere in the centre of that picture is Lee Westwood, I believe, Steve.
He's got problems on the left-hand side. Hearing from the course that his first chip was not entirely successful. So just behind this hole, the scout camp. Dip, dip, dip.
Site of a US Army base during the war.
Too early to say this one for the tournament, but it will be a mighty step towards it.
Just right half.
Never really had the line, so the birdie run halted, but at least he hasn't recorded a third successive bogey on 17. He goes to the last with a slender one-shot lead.
As you suspected, Steve, a little trouble with his first wedge from that really fluffy stuff on the left side, so there for 3 on the par 3 15 for Westwood.
The shot will go. He'll slip back 4 behind Darren Clark. It looks as if for Chubby Chandler's boys it won't be Lee's week or his turn this time around. Car parks healthily full.
Excellent last day crowd, actually. Really built up strongly this afternoon.
He's a shot behind. No, he's 2 behind. 2 drop shots in 3 holes. Michael Campbell faltering with the line in sight.
Not only that, doing it really on a hole which is pretty inviting. It's not that difficult a par 3 hole.
Problem was with the tee shot. It was a good recovery.
Yes, another lefty to the green from Michael Campbell has cost him another shot.
So here's the leader by 1 into the 18.
good shot.
To the heart of the green, trying to turn. It's okay. Darren Clark will have a putt for a 64 and almost certainly for the English Open for the second year running. And it's gone a little quiet at the back of the field.
Yes, it's strange all of a sudden. It's bubbling up so nicely. Look at the angle of that dog leg on 16 there. What a great picture that is.
You can see that risk and reward. Who designed the course originally?
Well, no one's been accredited the design because 3 or 4 guys, local people, bought the original layout and set the course down themselves. And quite incredible that it's not accredited to any real designer.
No, James doesn't like that, but he's got a decent lie. And he's got a decision to make. Ricardo Gonzalez ahead, safely made the 17th green in 2.
Another look at the eastern corner of the course here, the 16th hole in the centre of the picture, sharp dogleg right. 15th green is bottom left in the picture, and the scout camp bottom right. Little scarred earth on the left hand side there is our new turf nursery, which has been extensively used over the last, as you can see, over the last month or so. The last minute repairs and just a little freshening up in certain areas of the course to get it absolutely pristine.
Greg Turner finishing with a level par 72, marking the favour 72. They've cleared the green for Steve Webster and Darren Clark to take his bow at 18. Now the crowd saluting the winner. The man who shot 60 at the K Club, and much of his ball striking this afternoon has been of like quality. All started at the first. He knew he needed a fast start. And he got it. He would make a second birdie to the third. Drop a shot at 4, but it was just a nearest hiccup. Tee shot at 5. Birdie 2 and further birdies at 6 and 7. Just missed out on a par at 9, out in 33. You've sensed Clark always believed this could be his day, and he wasn't going to be diverted. Second to the 10th. A little squelchy underfoot. With shots like that, he could walk on water. Time to make a move. 13. Birdies at 13, 14, and then tee shot at 15. Chance for 3 in a row. And around the forest, Clark was steering, and everybody else knew it. Conservative tee shot at 16. But Darren was in control. 4 birdies in a row, a par at 17, and he stood on the 18th tee leading by 1, and he's found the heart of the green. Campbell has it all to do. It might just be Mark James, the only man who could deny his Ryder Cup star. It would be very hard for Mark James if Darren were to make this. Be a putt really to just get as close as you can. Anyway, we'll go back and we're going to have a look at, as Darren studies, we're going to have a look at Ricardo Gonzalez, who might just gate crash the party. This is to get to 12 under for Eagle. What a second shot it must have been. Oh, and, well, he gets to 11 under.
50p's gone again. You're right, Stephen. This is not a go for it putt by any means. He's probably 2 feet above the hole here, and it just slides gently down the hill.
This, if it's required, would be our first and second playoff holes. Only had one playoff on the European Tour so far this year. Darren Clark then. He was quickly wandering offline. I don't go too far past. Not ideal.
I just think I wouldn't fancy it.
There's his little boy who fancies it rather more than Dad. Wyeth Heather here. So many, I mean, this has been a feature. It's been a family tournament for many of the players. Wyeth Heather here. She's expecting the second. Dad would love to get on cigar. A little fidgety, and understandably.
Campbell second at the par 4 16th.
Two ago, and it's a must-make putt coming up for Michael Campbell. Lee Westwood too far behind. Not Mummy, that might be Nanny. Might be Steve Webster's girlfriend. It's not Heather Clark. This is Darren Clark. Don't falter now. Didn't waste much time. Presented no problem with what a special final round that is. From defending champion, he closes out with a 65, home in 32. A round of 10 birdies and some superlative stroke making, some pretty good putting as well. Is it enough? He's set the target at 13 under. And with Mark James on the 17th, one behind. Michael Campbell putting for birdie at 16. At 11 under, 2 shy.
Well, if Darren doesn't win this, he'll remember that 17th hole for a while.
Heather. There she is. Didn't Daddy do well? Very happy, Darren Clark, perhaps in contrast to 2 days ago when he finished bogey, was furious with himself and mustn't relax too much. There might be a little added chapter.
I wouldn't blame Campbell for missing that one. It's almost impossible to read that borrow from there.
Well, Mark James, no option really after his drive but to lay up. Needs a birdie and a par to tie, 2 birdies to win. And he may step onto the 18th tee all square. Wow. And Billy Foster, probably the calmest man around the place. Now make sure the card decides. I think it'll be a long, long time before a professional admits to sign his card now. For the luckless Porter Carrington. There's Chubby Chandler, Darren's manager. Never far away when his men are in contention, so he keeps pretty busy.
Yes, nice week's work for Chubby Chandler last week.
Yeah, all three of his men sharing second place. Campbell's still got hope.
needs certainly, well, he needs 4-2, doesn't he, Campbell, the last couple?
Montgomery. I haven't seen him for a while. This is for Eagle. It's not the sort of day where you expect him to make it. I say that, do we really need it? Though he's strong on saying, well, it's not necessarily the wins you make, it's the top 5, 6s that you pack in for the bulk of your season that can make all the difference between winning an Order of Merit and not.
It's been one of the worst last rounds from Colin for quite a while.
Yeah, I think he's tired. Steve Webster, by the way, 75 to finish at 3 under, playing with Darren Clark, marking perhaps the winner's card.
Got to be careful of the left-hand side here. Oh, good.
Hooray! Only the second success of the day. Level par. Well, the reason Mark James is in contention is the improvement in his putting. And this is real pressure. He's always employed caddies that have really got down to ground level to study the line. He seems to rely on his caddies quite a bit for confirmation of what he sees. What do you see, Kim Thomas?
I see not a lot. A bit like my front room, this one, Steve. Not a lot in it. God, that's an old one, isn't it?
Yeah. But it will do for this moment.
Darren's putt missed left, but I think this is more straight up the hill for Mark.
To give this one a good rap. Hold the line, it's wandered off. It's one, he was tentative. Ah, now he needs a 2 at the last to tie. Oh, that one's going to keep him awake. There's a TV monitor. I don't think Darren's looked at the monitor yet too much. He's reunited with the family.
What was the betting on Clark and James missing those putts on 17? Amazing.
Well, Campbell's not out of it. Let's not forget the Kiwi.
Giving that the full treatment, trying to work it round the corner. Almost backspin on that. You've got to get it 10 yards further on to get any run down here in these conditions.
Doting father, son Tyrone. Must be about 2 years old now, getting on that way. It would be unfair to say that Lee Westwood had lost interest. Nothing could be further from the truth, but it's hard for these players who thrive on being in contention to accept that they're not going to be there week and just to keep pulling out the scores, and that's reflected in the 2 bogeys in a row for Lee. Finding it hard at the moment.
This is what the European Tour want. If you miss the green that far short here, you want 6 inches of rough, and that's exactly what he's got here. 18. Very well played, though.
But when you've got the 60-degree lob wedge, you can cope.
Amazing with a game as ancient as this that no one had ever thought of a 60-degree wedge or a very lofty wedge until really comparatively recently. Gonzalez, slightly awkward shot, ball above his feet. Just a little timid.
Matthias Gromberg and Roger Chapman have both caught up 5 shots in the last round to win a tournament on this year's European Tour. If Darren Clark does win this English Open, he will have caught up 6 in the last round. It's a testament to a wonderful round of golf, indeed a very good weekend. -68 yesterday was probably the most he could take.
Yes, once he gets the momentum going down, he gets those fixed eyes on there. Birdies just flow. Remember the beautiful finish at the English Open last year at Hanbury Manor. I think the last 2 rounds, Steve, I seem to recollect. Barrage of birdies just when he needed them.
When he's just concentrating on making the shot and feeling himself comfortable. He's world class, isn't he? To see off David DeVow and Tiger Woods, he's capable of being up there with the very, very best in the world. Currently 14th in the world rankings. Now Gonzalez, important putt. Well, oh, could be expensive. Could be expensive. He had to settle for a 69, 10 under. And at the moment, he's in 4th place on his own. Now, Campbell would go on and at least birdie. The 17th might not have cost Ricardo that much, but who knows. Clark was model of consistency last week until last year at Hanbury Manor, 68, 65, 67, 68. He was a little slower starting up here at the Forest, 70, 72. The 72 wasn't that good a finish. Bogey, but by my word, he's made up for it the weekend. Peter O'Malley, again a top 10 finish, just share of 10th after a 74. A little disappointing today, has to be said. He shares 10th with Ian Garbutt, with David Lynn in 9th place, Lee Westwood and Colin Montgomery both on the course, sharing 7th at the moment. Numbers 2 and 3 in the Volvo order of merit. But it looks as if Darren Clark is going to extend his lead at the top. Just a question of by how much, and it could be quite a lot. £190,000 for first place here. Stand at the back. Big shot for Mark James coming up. Darren Clark will be hoping that it's close but no cigar. Needs a 2 to tie. Is particularly well, 4 under. That's good for a week's work on the short holes. Par 4 is impressive also. Maybe he's missed out a little on the par 5s, only 1 under.
Be very interested to see what sort of shape he hits in here, Steve. He can move the ball right to left very easily, Mark, and he might just hit it down the centre left and try and feed it back towards the hole.
Away to the right. Question of is how far. Also quite a long way.
Yep, hands didn't quite get through in time. As you say, he left it there.
Well, if he makes that putt, Darren Clark's entitled to feel a little hard done by the key putt was at 17, where Campbell has to go for it and is.
Started too far left. Did it come back? Must have a distance in the fade, but he's all right.
Birdie would do it. There's Chubby on the right.
A couple of large investments there, Steve.
Match on the penultimate green. If he were to 3-putt, it's all over for Campbell. 2-putt still gives him a chance, but he would need a 2 at 18, and it's a big ask on that closing par 3.
Putt runs away to the right. Got to be careful on pace.
So 3 birdies out of 3 here. He needs one better now. Keep going, keep going. It's got a chance. It's got a chance. Oh! Oh! He needs a 2 at the last hour, but my word, he was so close to the eagle. And if Darren Clarke was anywhere near a TV monitor, his heart would have been in his mouth. Just really ran out of pace. But he knew just how close it was. Money has to be on Darren Clarke now.
Yes, it could be also different if it just rolled that one in. Michael Campbell on 17, but hard work getting a 2 here.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Darren Clarke has played the best golf today. I mean, that's 65, a fabulous round, because a couple of little putts that just lipped out and horseshoe down on a couple of occasions. I mean, it could have been a 62, 63 very easily. And to produce a 65 kind of when you need it, special.
Yes, if this 18th hole was 20, 30 yards shorter, you could really work a shot more easily into this flag, which is protected by the bunker, of course. But guys hitting 4 irons in here, it's harder to really get it close. A career shot for Campbell to get it close. Monty above the hole here, nice and steady down the hill.
Westwood for a birdie at 17. Up to a share of 5th with Brian Davis and Gary Hall. A walk into the bear pit. What, the gravel pit, isn't it? Across the water. Has that always been there, the lake, or is that?
No, you're dead right, Steve. They were extracted for gravel 25 years or so ago, and well-established lakes now. Fishing is not my sport, but I believe there's some very fine brown trout in there.
Well, it's a outside bet is a gambler's chance. Back of his mind, but very much at the back of his mind. Thought he doesn't want the 3-putt, but has to go in for the playoff. You saw how close Michael Campbell was a hole behind. As Mark James got the legs on this, no, it's going to run out. So 1 down, 1 to go as far as Darren Clarke's concerned. Pretty remarkable week, mind you, for Mark James, bearing in mind all the else that's been going on. Michael Campbell needs a 2 at 18. He's done it twice out of 3 attempts so far this week. I wonder if Darren Clarke knows that.
Is that a nervous drink or a speech preparation gargle?
It's non-alcoholic. To be Monty's week. He finishes with a level par 72. In 8th place at the moment. We wish him the major he deserves at Pebble Beach. A little fine-tuning may be required, but a couple of days rest could be exactly what he needs.
Yes, very much so. What a prospect. US Open at Pebble Beach.
Well, it'd be very unfortunate and sad if Mark James were not to make this one for his par. This is for a round of 69, and almost certainly, well, no worse than third, shall we say. Got that one, but will be haunted for a while by the one that got away at 17. In perhaps to shake Darren's hand. One last throw of the dice. Can he make a third two? This par 3. The line looks okay. It's very good. He's got a chance. Come on, feed in.
It's a very good tee shot, obviously, there from Campbell, and the right time. I mean, he's got to make it two, isn't it? Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, Heather looks a little more concerned than Darren. Campbell will enjoy playing with Darren the first 2 rounds because he's given up smoking a couple of months ago, and he said every time he could get close or even hold Darren's cigar, it was the boost he needed. It goes to a player. I put the cigar out, Darren.
2 for Westwood here would make a few more shillings this week.
Yeah, he's in a 3-way tie for 5th at the moment.
Nice week for Ian Garbutt, Steve.
Yeah, he's been a bit quiet lately. And he also is a lesser-known member of Chubby Chandler's stable, so once again, the big man's had a good week.
Yeah, nice final round, 67.
And he uses the rivalry between the friendly rivalry between Clark and Westwood to G each other up. If one has a good week, you know, when Darren won at La Costa, Lee found he was kind of even by beating Tiger at the Deutsche Bank in Hamburg, and now it's they both had a share of second behind Monty last week. It's perhaps Darren's chance again. Michael Campbell's already got that putter in his hand. He's warming up, he's holding, almost trying to warm up the blade.
Fence alongside the players there is what divides the deer park from the rest of the estate here at the Forest of Arden. They regularly have 60 or 70 deer on this back nine.
And they usually let loose, and they've been sort of rounded up and herded into the old OK Corral for the week.
Yes, they've been ushered nearer to the great house, Packington Hall, I should say, about 6 weeks ago, Steve.
I'm still wondering where the geese have gone.
Been very kind to us, left no deposits.
I'm sure Darren's sponsors down in South Africa, Dimension Data, who put on a tournament for their clients at a Pro-Am at Sun City that Lee Westwood won. They'll be enjoying these pictures. Great reception for Michael Campbell, who's he's had it all to do throughout. It started with the 63. He's been the man under attack, and nobody really got to him until Darren Clark over the last couple of hours. Mark James was the last man to successfully defend the English Open, and Darren Clark repeat the feat.
Michael Campbell, of course, a compatriot of a mutual friend of ours, Steve. Good old Bruce.
That'll be right.
That'll be right.
Bruce, if you're watching, good day. We do think about you.
I understand you were joined by Bruce's friend Mark Williams. earlier
Mark
on
Williams,
this week.
yeah, Kiwi came in. And, it was a good insight caddying for Lucas Parsons, but a former Australasian Tour rules official. You've been in the last 3 days, or 3 of the 4 days. Appreciate that. Get a bit lonely in the padded cell here. Can't relax, can't celebrate yet. There's a real chance Campbell might make this.
Bruce Young is one of those creatures that's even worse than an Aussie. He's a Kiwi turned Aussie. Letters to Steve Beddow.
Steve Beddow at hotmail.com, Bruce. Like a lot of our leading players, Westwood would have been feeling a little fatigued when things hadn't gone his way after the win 2 weeks ago, the Sheriff second a week ago, and again he's had another good week. Won this title 2 years ago. There's a bit of left to right in this one. What would Michael Campbell give for that? So out of the tie for 5th and into a tie for 4th with Ricardo Gonzalez. A birdie finish for Lee Westwood, but it just came too late. The damage had already been done. He finishes 3 behind Darren Clark. And now we close in from the airship down onto this 18th green. Will this be the final action of the Compass Group English Open, or are we in store for a playoff? Michael Campbell with a putt for 2, with a putt to tie with Darren Clark. Not too much in this.
No, it's more difficult to read because it is downhill. It's almost side hill. He's not coming down the spine of the green. He's coming across the fall line, as they say in skiing. So, if anything, if it's dead weight, it may just turn to the right. Depends whether he's thinking knock it in hard or work it in.
He was so close to the eagle at 17. He led for so long. Has he got the pace? Has he got the legs? Oh no! Oh, he gave it every chance. It lipped out. And the title once again is Darren Clark's. But what a brave putt from Michael Campbell. He will hopefully tap this one in and share second with Mark James. The handshakes beginning for Darren Clark. Billy Foster delighted. Darren Clark strengthens his grip at the top of the Volvo Order of Merit. And Michael Campbell might go past Ernie Els in 4th place. It's been a splendid week for the Kiwi. At 63, his low round as a European Tournament pro, and in the end he didn't have quite enough left in the tank to deny Darren Clark, who was simply irresistible. Golf of the highest quality, and it's in Dungannon and around Ireland that they'll be celebrating.
You know, it's amazing, Steve, from a promotional point of view this year. The program for this year's event was produced, and quite a lot of discussions about the fact that the program designers had chosen 3 images of just one man on the front cover, and nobody else was shown on the front cover. Guess who that was?
It was probably Darren Clark. But it was mighty, mighty close at this stage. I think he thought he got it. It was just a little too much pace. Didn't take the edge. Agony for Campbell. Joy for Clark.
Well, Michael Campbell's played the last 2 holes absolutely superbly and got nothing out of them.
Yeah, 2 rounds of level par the weekend, not quite enough, but take nothing away from Darren Clark. He played really well yesterday, better than his 68 would suggest. And he knew that he was striking the ball well enough. His putting was on song. He knew he had a chance today, and he's proved that. 10 birdies in that round of 65. Well, Kim, I think you might just be involved in the prize giving somewhere along the line. See you in Wales. Thanks for your company.
Thanks very much, Steve. Always a pleasure.
So Kim Thomas leaves. There's a reflection. Darren Clark just struggling on round 2 with a bogey finish, but he soon got that out of his system, and he was just quite superb at the weekend. Terrific week for Mark James, starting with a 73, and nobody really wanted to talk about the golf, but in the end they might have to. Michael Campbell, you have to feel a little sorry for Campbell, but I spoke to his mind guru Josh before, and he said, well, we concentrate on the majors. Even if we don't pull this one off, it's still been a good week. Lee Westwood, strong finish, birdie, but nothing really happened in the bulk of the round. And Colin Montgomery, his worst ever finish at the Forest, but even then, still top 10. David Lynn is developing a admirable consistency. And Brian Davis, but for that ricochet off the trees, might have been closer than tie 6. Another top 10 finish for Gary Hall. Darren Clark gets probably somewhere in the region of 350, 400,000 pounds clear at the top of the Volvo Order of Merit. It's a distant target. Going down the scores, a good finish from Ian Garbett, and likewise Mark Farry. Tony Johnson's had a much better season this year. His revival really began in Portugal. He's had a couple of good finishes since then. Top 20, represents pretty good golf, 4 under, alongside his sunning down neighbour Anthony Wall. Mark McNulty also, apart from the second round 75, a good week. So we're just waiting for the presentation party to congregate, and we'll be joining them greenside. Speaking to Darren Clark, Steve Webster marked the winning card, although he would have been personally disappointed with his final round. 68 for Wayne Riley. That will secure Radar's card for next year. We can relax and push on. And it's worth reflecting before the presentation on the excellence of Darren Clark's golf today. All began at the first, as most of these good rounds do. In Tiger Woods red. On his way with a 3. Second birdie at the third, drop shot at 4. Clark refused to panic. A 2, first of 3 birdies on the bounce, and though he would drop a shot at the 9th to be out in 33, he was back on course at 10. Slightly wayward tee shot at 11 into the bunker cost Clark his second drop shot of the round. He got that back at 13. And his challenge really began in earnest, putting the pressure on, turning the screw on Michael Campbell at 14. His tee shot at 15 never left the pin. His putt never left the hole. Conservative tee shot at 16, further back than previously this week. Four birdies in a row. Missed out at 17. Left himself a bit more than he would have liked for par at 18. But he wasn't to be denied a 65 and then a long wait while first James and Campbell had their opportunities, but they couldn't catch Darren Clark, who successfully defended the Compass Group English Open, a worthy champion, a world-class weekend performance. Time then to cross down to the 18th and join our colleagues from Sky Sports for the presentation to our champion, Darren Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your patience and welcome to the presentation after a fantastic Sunday here at the Marriott Forest of Arden. You'll see your champion crowned in just a couple of minutes, but first of all, we're going to hear from Mr. Tony Rostenberg, chairman of the Compass Group UK Leisure.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, what a fantastic afternoon. Fabulous. This is our second year sponsoring the Compass Group English Open. What a superb tournament with an amazing field. Very special, with very special people. We're very proud to be part of such a wonderful occasion in sport. I would like to take a moment to thank the people who have been responsible and vital to the success of this championship. My thanks go to the PGA European Tour, Ken Schofield, George O'Grady, Tournament Director Miguel Vidor, and Jamie Birkmeyer and his team. Organising an event of this size takes time, effort, experience and dedication. What happens we take for granted, and as you can see from today's event, it has been fabulous. To my own team, Payne and Gunter and Compass Group, thank you. I am very proud of what you have achieved. Working alongside the Marriott Hotel Group headed up by Hiko Fig, they have worked hard to create a professional and enjoyable tournament. A special mention to Kenny Mackay and his team of greenkeepers. The greens and course have been fantastic, Kenny. Our appreciation also to Chief Marshal Barry Drew and his staff, as well as to the members and management of Marriott Forest of Arden Golf Club. And of course, to the players. A very great professional once said, to be a great player, you have to live for what you do. For golf or any sport, you have to think and you have to live all the time for that. Otherwise, it is impossible to be a champion. And most importantly, you have to like it. Ladies and gentlemen, the commitment, dedication and professionalism of these outstanding gladiators of the links goes without saying. I would like to thank them for the exciting game this week, and in particular to the well-deserved winner, Darren Clark, once again. Darren, you certainly like your game. Finally, last but by far the most important, to you the spectators of all ages, you came in your thousands to support this great game and to enjoy. And if, like me, when perchance in a spare moment we lift up a club and relive some of the shots seen in our field of dreams, then we as sponsors are happy. Give yourself a round of applause. Your enthusiasm has made the Compass Group English Open a great success. And remember one thing, or three things. If it goes right, it's a slice. If it goes left, it's a hook. And if it goes straight, it's a miracle. God bless, safe home. Thank you, see you next year.
Thank you, Tony. The tournament a tribute to the sponsors, Compass Group and the Marriott Forest of Arden, and also to the tournament director, Tony mentioned, Miguel Vidor. So to read out the top three players, Miguel.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, tied second with a total of 276, 12 under par, from New Zealand, Michael Campbell, and from England, Mark James. With scores of 70, 72, 68, and 65 for a total of 275, 13 under par. Winner of a check for €208,330, the winner of the 2000 Compass Group English Open from Northern Ireland, Darren Clark.
Well, Darren, you do it again. 2 different golf courses, the same tournament, the same feeling, but you've had some fabulous rounds in your career, many memorable ones. Where does that one stand today?
This one was pretty good today. You know, I kept on hitting it to 8-10 feet for most of the day. I had a few lip outs, I made a few mistakes, but that's the way I play. I enjoy making loads of birdies, not too many bogeys, but you know, I had a really enjoyable day. I was under control of what I was trying to do, and you know, fortunately, I just managed to pip Jesse and Michael there.
Terrific performance by the other players. A great week's competition, and I'm sure you'd like to pay tribute to the other players.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think we've had a fantastic week here. To Kim Mackay and all his staff, I think you've done a fantastic job. I know the weather hasn't been too kind this past while here at home, and I think the condition they got the golf course in this week was second to none. It was fantastic.
Darren, we on Sky were saying at the start of the day that we felt that you seem to demonstrate a new determination at the moment. It's as if you seem to sense this is your year, and with the US Open just a couple of weeks away, we wondered if you maybe had a very special determination today.
I do. You know, as I said last week at Wentworth, Monty made his acceptance speech for another Order of Merit, and he said the thing that keeps him going is determination to finish as high up the field as he can. And you know, I took a lot from that, and beforehand maybe I mightn't have finished things off as well as I could have done if I was finishing in the middle of the field, but that just gave me a little bit more determination. I finished well last week, and I've done it again today.
We've been telling everyone about these transatlantic telephone messages left on your mobile by Butch Harmon. Not always the nicest and most pleasant of messages, but they seem to be kind of effective.
Yeah, he keeps calling me a fat beep 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 thing and all that sort of kind. So you know, he seems to get the message through to me, and you know, he suggested a few things. He watched me on Friday morning over in Vegas on the Golf Channel. Took a look at it, knew exactly what I was doing wrong, and you know, I went through a few drills, and all of a sudden it clicked back into place.
Okay, Darren, congratulations. The many thousands who have waited around. You're a very popular champion again for the second year in a row. The Compass Group English Open champion, Darren Clarke.
Well, there he is on the television again, and he will be if he played that well. Butch Harmon's having a pretty good year one way or another, and so is Darren Clarke, and maybe Colin Montgomery has passed the secret of success on, winning by 1 in the end from Campbell and from James, with Lee Westwood having to share 4th place and Colin Montgomery down in 8th. So let's take a look at the impact on the Volvo Order of Merit. Colin Montgomery, Lee Westwood still chasing. Michael Campbell didn't quite get past Ernie Els, but significantly Darren Clarke has opened up a substantial gap again, the best part of €500,000. Been some week. This is the story of the Compass Group English Open. On day 1 it was a little overcast, but it was Michael Campbell with the best round, the lowest round of his tournament life, carding a 63 and leading by 2, a European Tour record. All things considered, his second round 69 was pretty good, but Peter O'Malley got himself into 2nd place, 5 behind after 65, started with 5 birdies in a row. Pressure on Campbell. Pat were hard on his heels, and Mark James came out of controversy into the press room with a 65, and 1 or 2 talked about the golf. Lee Westwood was there as well, closer to ball, and the lead was narrowed to 2. Closing all the time. We wonder, would James do it? Would Westwood do it? Brian Davis flickered briefly out in 31, but it was the excellence of Darren Clarke that came through. And in the end, his 65 was just too good for James and Campbell. Darren Clarke deservedly retains the Compass Group English Open title. Last year at Hanbury Manor, and this year in the Forest. So great scenes looking down from the airship, and the photographers will have their moment, and the trophy will regain its place on the Clarke mantelpiece down there in Sunningdale. One for the family album.
Heather and Darren, speed please. Tyrone. Yeah. On this way please. On the end here please.
A little Tyrone, baffled by it. He'd rather be driving the buggy.
On the other side now please.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed these 4 days. We've certainly enjoyed our stay in the heart of England, and we've had some terrific weeks the last month or so. The weather hasn't been that kind overall, but the golf has certainly compensated for it. Kim Thomas will be in this chair next week at Celtic Manor for the Wales Open. First tournament in Wales from the European Tour for some 12 years, and then it will be the US Open. Good luck to all the Europeans who make the trip across to Pebble Beach, and they will all be travelling in pretty good form. But we will leave you with one closing shot of the Marriott Forest of Arden Hotel, the trout fishery and the golf course, where we've seen so much good golf this week. I hope you've been with us the 4 days, and I hope you've enjoyed it. It's certainly been very, very good indeed this afternoon. Darren Clark, the champion, from me, Steve Beddow. Goodbye.